also want to talk a little bit more about one of the other stories about Skeletor, and we did talk about it, but I did just want to mention it again about the idea that Skeletor was Keldor, and he was supposed to inherit the crown, but he didn't inherit it, supposedly because he's a half-breed. You know, like it's some kind of really sad story in a sense.
Well, it's like Loki and many other stories, Shakespearean even.
Yes, and it says that he, and I don't even know if I'm getting this all right. So, you know, like this whole situation where he was promised to get this power, you know, like this was his birthright, and somehow it was no longer his birthright. What can you guys tell me about a little bit more about that?
Tony.
Well, yeah. So he's a Gar. Well, he's at least half Gar, which is so. Yeah, he is. So again, this all very much depends on which mythology we're going with here.
That's true, RM. There's so many different mythologies. We don't know really what to go with at this second.
And so if we're looking at this one where he was promised a specific power, a crown, to be a king, you know, or a ruler.
Did they say it in this in Revelations?
No. But what I'm curious about is this could be another story to explain why Skeletor is the way he is. So we got one story where Skeletor, you know, lost his family and it was incredibly tragic. In this second story, he was supposed to be a king and he lost that. And it was not anything fault of his own. They make a good point of mentioning, and I could be wrong. Anybody out there, they made a good point of mentioning the reason why he didn't get the crown was because of his, you know, like background.
Well,
and that was devastating to him. You know, like that.
So back in the 80s, the mini comic was called In Search of Keldor.
Right.
And it doesn't. I mean, so so Randor says about, I had a brother. He was really into magic and shit. That's paraphrasing, by the way.
That's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said. That's verbatim.
Yeah. He was into magic and shit, and he went off to find himself, and just kind of disappeared, right? And then at some point, Skeletor is on the scene, and so it's basically, so oh god, hang on 1 minute. So it was given away with, so there were three. It was given away with Ninja, Scareglow, and Faker. They were the three action figures that this comic came with, I think, if I remember rightly. And they were the characters that were really. And one of the ideas, because Scareglow was called the ghost of Skeletor.
Right.
There you go.
And then, from what I understand, it gets violent, where Keldor, you know, before he turns into Skeletor, assaults Randor. Or
that's in the Mike Young version. So in the Mike Young version, because in the original, it was literally, that was basically all you see. You don't really see Keldor. It's basically Skeletor trying to hold, you know, trying to keep the secret, right?
Do you still have that this particular like individual issue?
No, I don't.
Do you still have that? Wow, your memory is impeccable. Because you're absolutely correct.
Well,
you're absolutely correct.
But it's something else too, is that there's some strange agreement that I guess Keldor makes with Hordak, because at this point, I guess he can't return. You know, once he crosses the line where he does this assault on Randor, he has to go somewhere. Yep. And I guess Hordak kind of opens up his arms and says, "Come to me, I'll take care of you." But then at some point, that's when Skeletor suddenly turns into the creature that we see him as.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, so what happens is he has like a vial of acid, right? So he's fighting with Keldor on the steps. He throws this vial of acid and he bats it back into his face, and Evil-Lyn, who obviously is just on the scene, she manages to get him away to safety, but it is burning through his face, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's already burnt through his eyes, right? So
something along those, yeah.
And,
it's funny how she just happens to so conveniently be there.
Anyway, there. And she takes him to a shrine, a shrine for Hordak, right, or a Horde shrine, and it's like so they conjure up. They manage to communicate with Hordak, who is in this version of the universe kind of this Hordak is in the Mike Young universe incredibly powerful, so powerful that he might. It's generally thought that he might not even have a physical form. He's that powerful. Whereas you look at the version of Hordak that was in, basically he is Horde Prime. If you look at Hordak in a lot of the continuities, you've got Horde Prime, who is either Horde
that's in Unincorporeal, yeah.
In She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, Hordak was a clone of Horde Prime. He was a clone of Horde Prime, and I think, and usually it works out that way. He's either the son of, or he's a clone of, and he's going to take over eventually. But
the rise of Hordak.
But yeah, the way he was presented in, obviously they wanted to streamline it in the Mike Young version, but the version of Hordak in the Mike Young version was incredibly powerful, and almost like a Cthulhu level threat, right? But he's imprisoned in Despondos. Despondas. Yeah, I can never remember how to pronounce it. Despondas or whatever it was called.
Could Hordak be manifesting himself in this interdimensional creature? Because I have a feeling that Hordak might be somehow influencing Skeletor.
I would hope so.
I think if I'm guessing if they do get a season 2, I'm guessing Hordak. Because
it has to be.
So basically, the Mike Young series was cancelled after 2 seasons. The second season was all about the Snake Men. Basically, the Snake Men. King Hiss was the original owner of Snake Mountain, right?
Right.
And he came back and he booted Skeletor out of Snake Mountain, took over. The main storyline of season 2 was He-Man and everyone against the Snake Men. It was even called the Master of the Universe versus the Snake Men.
Right.
Now, if season 3 had happened, it would have been the Horde. So
the Horde would have cleaned up.
Yeah. So basically, Skeletor would have had to have teamed up with He-Man to take on the Horde. They're that powerful.
Trivia. And well, actually, I'm just asking a question. The Snake Men became at their peak in the mid '80s. Tell me I'm wrong. Wasn't that around the exact same time that Serpentor was taking over Cobra Commander?
Yeah, about that time. It was around the time. It was about 86, 87. It was kind of when the toy line was starting to go into decline, and so it was before, because so basically in 1987 they had a big decision to make, right? The film had just come out, but the toy line was kind of tanking, and they did a couple of characters from the film, Gwildor and Blade, and the other guy, Saurion, the guy that died. Because basically they couldn't kill any of the actual characters. They couldn't kill Beastman, they couldn't kill Skeletor, they couldn't kill any of the main characters. So they created these characters just to kill them. Right?
We could do a whole segment on the movie, and I think we should. I've got an original Gwildor figure around here somewhere. I never had the Dolph Lundgren He-Man I don't even know if I saw it, but for whatever freaking reason, I got the little troll, the non-flying Orko Gwildor.
Gwildor, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's a billion things that we can talk about. Regarding the Skeletor thing, I guess it's kind of a wait and see at the moment, because we just got this information about a comic book, and we don't even know if it ties into the animation that we're watching, the Revelation.
This is the thing. So the film came out in '87, right? And the toy line was tanking. So they came up with they had basically two ideas on the table. Do we go into the past or do we go into the future? Now, the idea of the past was the Powers of Grayskull toy line, and that's where Hero came from. And you had and you had these two giant characters. I think it was Titano and Gigantor. Or something. I can never remember.
Gigantor is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they had these two giant, like 2 foot tall action figures that were giants, and they set up all of these things for it, but it never happened. And the only figure in existence was Hero, and that it's one of the most I think it's one of the most expensive ones. It was on that backing anyway. The Powers of Grayskull line, or the other one was, do we set a series in the future? So they ended up going with the future. They made the New Adventures of He-Man,
right.
the He-Man toy line. They base it's a really confusing thing, because if you've seen the cartoon series, it's clearly He-Man and it's clearly Adam and Skeletor and Eternia, but the design aesthetic is completely different. It's much more sci-fi than fantasy, and then they decide to send him 1,000 years in the future. So they send Skeletor and He-Man into the future, and it's basically Skeletor teams up with the mutants and He-Man with the Galactic Guardians, and it's kind of not great. The toy line was quite fun. They had some good. The main spaceship they had was really cool.
I have the Skeletor somewhere missing.
Yeah, I had one of those. But the spaceships they had were really cool. But it kind of never went anywhere, and it kind of killed the franchise for about a decade until the Mike Young series came up.
Getting back to the portal. Let me speak the G name. We have not heard or even talked about. Maybe it's Granomir.
Yeah, Granomir was the dragon.
Yeah,
Granomir was the big pot-bellied dragon with the tiny little sort of German helmet. German helmet with a Hell's Angels helmet with so it's like a German helmet, a Second World War German helmet with horns, just like sort of cartoon Hell's Angels, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when he would pop in. It was like kind of my cue in a way of having Granomir pop in. I forget it. I know his voice. I can't recall it offhand. I know I used to mimic it. I liked that character. I liked that character a bunch, and he was powerful, and he was silly. Malevolent. Well, wait. Yeah, he was a bad guy, right?
Well, he was. He was kind of neutral, kind of. He wasn't. He was bad in, but he, to a certain degree, he was.
He was like Q. He had fun. He had fun doing what he was doing. We could do a whole episode on neutral characters. I'm sure
we'll do an episode on neutral characters.
I want to see Zodak because I want to see Tony dressed as Zodak.
That would be very interesting.
Come on, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, Zodak. So anyway, so the first, there were 8 action figures originally, right? There were three villains: Skeletor, Merman, Beastman, and 4 good characters. And then Zodak, who was, and they thought, well, we need an extra villain, so we'll kind of
make him
the villain. But then they went, yeah, no, maybe he's more neutral. So he ended up being neutral. Yeah.
Going to we could do a whole episode if we wanted to. I mean, I don't know how many shows we actually want to do, but we could do episode on our say top 10 favorite beasts or monsters of the entire whatever franchise.
I mean, as long as there's a Masters of the Universe Revelation series that has not concluded, we will be doing this series. So, you know, we should just continue it and think about, you know, where it's going. And I think that it's interesting to kind of look and see what's happened in the past and what's happening in the present. So, you know, it was a deliberate choice to have Skeletor be the last thing you see in the last episode.
Definitely. There's no 2 ways about that. Yeah, it was definitely yeah.
And has Skeletor ever let's say in I don't know whether in the movie, but I think he did in the movie. Has there been any other time where he has gotten both sides of the sword and been the victor in this way, so to speak?
Well, I mean, in the mini comics, he did. There's is it the Master of no, God, was it the King of Castle Grayskull? Right. That's he got both sides of the sword, and he entered Castle Grayskull, and for a whole 4 pages, he was King of Castle Grayskull. But yeah, so I mean that was that the first? I think that was the second mini comic.
And if Skeletor's origin is actually one of him being sort of like a prince who didn't get the crown to the kingdom, does he have a sense of entitlement because his throne was stolen from him? Is that entitlement on his end?
He's going to have a sense of entitlement whether he deserves it or not, because that's his character. That's how the character works. It doesn't, I mean, what they're doing for us is actually, we're doing, it's not fan service. It's kind of a different thing. They're just letting us know, hey, this is kind of how he is. He's going to, he feels like he deserves this. It doesn't matter which iteration you're looking at. He is right. The villain is always right, and everybody else are wrong. So
yeah, I think that's what makes for a reasonably, you know, and that is kind of become a cliche, right? That the best villains always think they're right, or they always think they're doing best for they're basically the heroes in their own story.
Yeah,
and that is true to a degree. And you go, well, you know, it's like there are real world villains who I don't think they did have the best intentions. You know, whether it be you know, Hitler or Idi Amin or Pol Pot. I mean, even in their own heads, a lot of them were like, you know, I'm not entirely sure they really genuinely thought that they were doing what was best for humanity. So, you know, but I do agree, a lot of the best fictional villains do believe that they are actually the hero of the story.
Movies like The Joker, I mean, there's a billion of them now. I mean, we've got some really good movies out there that do demonstrate this. The Joker is one where you're kind of wondering, and I kind of really parallel this to Skeletor. Is he insane? Is it all in his head? is Evil-Lyn actually talking to him? I mean, I could see a Dark Knight Joker scenario with Skeletor, so dramatic, so realistic, and then find out, oh wait, is Evil-Lyn even real? Something along those, something crazy.
Or
Joker,
is it a manifestation of Hordak, or something like that?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. So maybe I accidentally hit on something there with maybe every episode, every issue of this comic is going to be a different origin.
Oh, I love that. I hope so.
But yeah, I kind of think,
We'll see.
Well, one thing can be said, that Skeletor did go through great manipulations to get that sword. I mean, if this was his master plan all along, or even if it was Evil-Lyn's master plan all along, he succeeded, at least right now. So
that was the ultimate goal from the beginning, from 35 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it was. That has been the ultimate goal. So seeing it realized now, I don't know why it pisses people off. We should be excited, like, holy crap, the chicken actually crossed the road without getting hit, or whatever. I don't know. He actually did it. So,
well, I can't speak for everybody else. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I still stand by. I think Teela would have responded differently, and that was my.
Oh no, she was bitchy.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. Though I really say it's PTSD though. And I think I kind of wish they would have laid off of it a little bit earlier. But hopefully in the next episode, things start to smooth out.
Exactly.
She's less grouchy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe. It's a weird thing, because I think she was right to be. I do think she was right to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again, this is a thing that I think both the Filmation series and Mike Young did wrong. They both had Teela kind of out of the loop, and I think that was a great disservice to the character, because she's one of the characters that kind of needs to know.
Well,
right?
that's the thing, though. Maybe that's the greatest strength of it, is the fact that she never knew, and that's what can propel us into different directions. I mean, there could be various story arcs, as we've already talked about. Her right now is the most logical, story to tell. So, had she known, we wouldn't have this story right now.
No,
And does she knows now? But is it? He was keeping a secret, and I assume he's keeping a secret from as many people as possible. But now, does all of Eternia know? I'm just kind of curious.
What? See, that's. I mean, how many people were actually? Oh God! Well, that's it. I mean, how many people were in the court?
No. Yeah. No. Only 3 people. We knew the original core people, and then who else was there? Well, okay, so. Oh, wait a second, though. Think about the court audience. All of the waiters, the staff, the guards.
Because it was during her famous.
And it was a major meltdown, yeah. Kind of. I'm not gonna take it anymore.
It's one of those weird things about anything that has a royal family in it, and this goes back to any fiction that has a royal family in it. They always have these bustling courts where it's like everyone in the city seems to be inside the palace, which is kind of weird, really.
Ladies in waiting and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's true to a certain degree, but it seems that there are a lot of people there. I mean, when they had to get everyone to safety in that first episode, it was like, why are there so many people? I mean, I understand. I mean, in the medieval court, for example, there would be a lot of people, courtiers and people like that. But it just seems.
Imagine the gossip.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Do these people have nothing better to do?
No, well, actually, I would imagine that they are. They're hey, you're gonna be here, and you're gonna dress this way, and
yeah.
I know. Real quick tangent. You've got to watch Dangerous Beauty. Okay.
Oh yeah, with Robin Wright.
Yeah. 16th century Venice, Italy. It's one of the most beautiful films. I love the soundtrack so much. Talking about court life.
It is Robin Wright, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, it's not. It's isn't it? Oh, I'm getting confused now. No, I think it is Robin Wright.
She plays the mom, I think. Or no.
Was it not?
It's a tangent, though. It's regarding court stuff, and RM, you'll love it. Let me just say that.
I think I might have seen it many years ago when it first came out. It was about 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, 1998.
Oh, no, was it not Natasha McAlpine?
No.
McAlphone?
No. It was. I watched it to 1999, 2000. No. When I got back from England, I guess. So. Oh yeah. No. Before, because I was looking for it and I couldn't find it in the UK. It was The Good Courtesan. Catherine McCormack. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew it was a Mac something. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was so so sincere, innocent, so free, giving, passionate, and Rufus Sewell. I mean, that goes. That's a side. That would be like a side story to what we're talking about with the Masters of the Universe. What happens in the court after everybody goes home? With
Robin Wright, I was thinking of Mole Flanders. Yeah.
Oh yes, she wasn't that. Are we going to see Orko come back?
Oh yeah.
I'm still kind of hoping that it's actually him and Scareglow, and that they've hashed things out, and it's actually they've kind.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think they're best buddies, but I think he's talked him round, and he's like.
Wouldn't it make sense though? Because Orko is very, very, very powerful. Scareglow is actually kind of. I mean, he's powerful though. He's kind of trapped in his domain.
Well, he's a puppet, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying Scareglow is a puppet of Skeletor's, right?
Well,
it depends.
Yeah, this all goes back to the confusion when Scareglow was first.
Skeletor.
There's several different backstories. That's why.
Yeah, I mean the original action figure said it said Scareglow, Skeletor's ghost. Now, generally people were going, "What, is Skeletor dead?" And it was like, well, no, he's a ghost that's owned by Skeletor. So.
Yeah,
or works for Skeletor.
Hey, when was the last update on Scareglow's backstory? Because we knew that Scareglow was going to be in this, and we knew that one of his potential story arcs was that he's the ghost of Skeletor. So that would have been. I mean, I'm way nerdy out here. That would have been a team.
Also, in the first in that first mini comic. In fact, in the King of Castle Grayskull.
No, just this show. That's what I'm saying. This show. What did they do?
I'm just saying in terms of
you mean
Scareglow.
When you say what did they do, you mean the manifestation of Scareglow in the story?
Well, apparently Scareglow was going to be in the King of Castle Grayskull. You see this sort of shadowy figure who was the original King of Castle Grayskull. And obviously later that turned out to be King Grayskull in this version or whatever, but in that version, and I think originally Scareglow was going to be his ghost, so it was going to be literally the ghost of Castle Grayskull, and then they kind of thought, oh no, it's a bit too on the nose, so I think he was going to be, have like a green like a green. He was going to be kind of green. He was going to glow green, like
it was. Yeah, it was more green. It was,
and it was like, yeah, no, this is too on the nose. So they made him more sort of yellowy. You know,
that's perfect, TheRichard. Well, I think that if we do see Scareglow, first of all, I love the way they treated him in that episode. You know, he just really had a very good story, and there was great interaction, and he kind of seemed to go in and out in presence, but you know, obviously he was there the whole time, and he gave illusions that didn't have the glow. So I also like that a lot.
I just got a flash. Do we know, has Scareglow ever worked with Hordak? Because, I mean, Hordak deals with fear and horror and stuff. And his place is the Frightmare or whatever. The
Fright Zone.
Fright Zone, yeah.
But that's in Etheria, though. Well, in the Mike Young series, no, because Hordak was kind of off on a different. It was in Despondas. I'm gonna get that right one day. It was in Despondas. And
is that a location?
Yeah, it's well, in the Mike Young version, it was a dimension where Hordak was in prison.
I thought you said duck dimension. I'm thinking
it sounded like duck dimension.
Yeah,
dark, right?
Dimension. It was a duck dimension. Yeah.
It's the Howard the ducks.
It was the Howard the Duck dimension. Yeah.
We're going there. We are going there.
Where DuckTales takes place. It's a true thing. It's a true thing. Yeah, no, it was. But yeah, no, I in the original mini comics, again, I think it was he was just there. So no, I don't think so. Not that I can, not off the top of my head, anyway.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, TheRichard, because
it's so weird. I'll flip to nearly any page randomly, and I find somebody like the suggestion. Let's do an episode on like neutral characters or just character whatever. Chakotay, remember Chakotay, the blue, the Gar witch. I think she's Gar. I don't want to be speciesist. Remember her? I really enjoyed her character, and I saw her figure. Oh no, she's the one with the tentacled monster with the pet. Yeah, and that's right.
Oh, sorry, my camera's gone. Hang on a minute. Sorry.
No worries.
I tried to find her, though her price went up so fast, so I never got. I wanted her and the creature. I'm gonna try to hold it still.
Yeah, it looks like a cool figure. That must.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites. I kind of like blue feminine creatures.
Yeah, I think that's a great looking figure. I'm also wondering about another way we saw Skeletor, or we've seen Skeletor manifest himself, is with his scepter. I can't remember what it's called just now.
The Havoc staff.
Yes. And you know, we saw hints of it. Like, for example, we saw Evil-Lyn handling what looked like it might be part of the Havoc staff, which it was. It was actually just another manifestation.
Ultimately, yeah. So that was very sneaky, and I like that. And they did, when you rewatch it, you could see, hopefully Tony can hear us. You could see.
He can, but I have to take him out because I can't leave him in like that. Go ahead, TheRichard.
All right. You could see clues leading up to it. I mean, they gave us breadcrumbs to that moment. When you watch it, the first time you're not going to catch it, maybe, though, because you know it trembles at 1 second. Her eyes go over here. Her facial expression, everything about it, the Havoc stuff, or having Skeletor in that. You remember? Yeah. So yeah, it made sense.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of think about what other manifestations we've seen him in, sort of being present all along, so to speak. in the episodes, and not being aware that it was him. Of course it was, but you know, I like how it was done, and I think that he has the ability to just appear in so many manifestations. Are there any others that we didn't of Skeletor that we didn't see in this episode? I mean, we saw at least 3, right? The Havoc staff, the actual Skeletor, the Scare Glow, which I guess is his ghost, but it looks like Skeletor.
It's adjacent.
Okay.
Let's call it adjacent. I got this this pen from the dollar store. I'm going to paint it purple. Take out the pearl, put the pearl back in there. Maybe add a light. It's an ink pen, though. It's looks like Evil-Lyn's thingy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'll come out great looking. That's gonna look very good. I liked.
I could also pull a recall.
I also liked in this episode how we kind of like got to see Evil-Lyn let her hair down.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was very different, and I really liked that. I mean, she, you know, we always knew what she was like, but this kind of, you know, it literally was her letting her hair down. So, you know, I think that they matched the conversation with that particular.
Well, what do you think is better, her short hair in the Y2 Young 2K, or?
I really like the short hair. Yeah. But to each their own. I think it's. But then again, it suited that version of the character. And I think this suited this version of the character. Although I don't know. I think the problem is they couldn't really have gone with the short hair because Teela's already done that, and it would have been too much short hair. Perhaps wouldn't it would have been like it's a bit of a clash.
I personally almost said something derogatory. Yeah, it's good that they didn't both have short hair for visual reasons. I mean. When on the boat, she lets her long white, bone white hair down, and that's the first time I realized, oh crap, she's human.
Yes.
Or something like that. You know, that's the first time I really felt for her, as in, oh, you're not a maniacal monster that I've kind of, you know, I don't know. It got weird.
Well,
it got weird. My
Also,
tummy got butterflies.
I mean, there's another thing as well. So basically, I mean, if you look at Evil-Lyn's costume, it's basically just a repainted version of Teela. I mean, it just proves that they really weren't that interested in creating female characters, right?
Originally correct.
It's like, so basically, you've got 2 action figures, but they represent 3 characters because Teela was both the goddess. When she had the snake headdress on, she was the goddess, and when she had it off, she was Teela. They
were really confident. They were going with the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Conan. They were going full on in because Mattel had already had Barbie. They already had a full on line of females, so they needed to have a male marketed campaign, and it's so freaking weird. They were using the logic of, oh, boys don't play with Barbies. That's not true. Boys don't play with Barbies, so boys won't want female He-Man. Seriously, I'll tell you a story. I was freaking 8 years old. My dad, stepdad, the one who raised me, took me and family out to Owsley's Pay Lake. He had a bunch of his friends there. We rented a cabin and everything, and I pull out my tackle. He pulls out his tackle box. It's got tadpoles and everything. I pull out my tackle box. It's got a bunch of Barbies in there. He got pissed in front of all of his machismo, country boy friends because I'm 8. I'm an artist. I brought whatever I wanted to bring, and well, it wasn't. It wasn't manly.
That's quite all right. So, in this, so far, what we've seen in the series, we saw Evil-Lyn kind of seem like she was, becoming a good guy, or, that. And then, of course, at the end, we kind of got a surprise, and you know, the notion of like, is she sort of irredeemably evil? You know,
she makes the most sense to have that balance of back and forth. She makes the most sense, and it's a healthy conversation to have. She's doing what she needs to do to exist in this crazy maniacal universe, and she's very powerful. She's actually kicking butt and everything.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see what the next step will be. You know, with that, and of course, you know, the way that they did it, as we had spoken before, where they took the sword and she had the sword or something else in her hand, and it turned out to be Skeletor. You know, like it was just like so nicely done, as far as I'm concerned, in regards to you saying, "Oh my goodness, what a surprise!" But so,
do you think she's going to be good, or she's going to ultimately be bad? What do you personally think?
I think that she will be whatever she needs to be to make things work out for her.
And
whatever that is, she will be that thing.
Yeah.
As she's been all along. So I think she might be the most realistic character, as you said, in the entire series for that reason.
I'm kind of leaning on that too. Yeah. Yeah. Teela's over dramatic, though I think it's PTSD. Man at Arms, you know, he's the stereotypical the Obi-Wan mentor, elder now, badass, you know, and well, Stinkor is Stinkor.
So okay, let's say
Stinkor's is a color swapped merman. Sorry, carry on.
That's right. It was just with the same body, and you know, and painted it black and white, right? So if you know, if I got the sword, you know, the sword of power, you know, only God knows where I would go. Like, you could go anywhere with this thing. So where did Skeletor go, in your opinion? You know, we haven't seen where he went. He went somewhere.
If it happened, he probably went into Castle Grayskull. No, if it happened, because I'm not saying it actually did. I think it might have been a premonition or something. I think he would have been sucked into Castle Grayskull, not necessarily because of the castle itself. His own desire and hunger for power would draw him in there. That's what he's always wanted. He would go directly in there, bypass, go, you know, skip, you know, everything, you know, get your $200, whatever the fuck. He's going where the power is, and that would be Grayskull. That's my thought.
Is one of his powers projection?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, he can do things, you know, he can also, obviously, just like Scareglow, he can create illusions that
absolutely
just make people think something happened when it didn't. So, so it's a very interesting thought of that. And, you know, he may have fooled them all. So, you know, I kind of like to look at it from that point of view too, but,
I don't think it was his intentional illusion for whatever reason. Now, I'm never right, so it doesn't matter. I think that it maybe somebody else, perhaps. Does Zodak have abilities to project onto, project realities or whatever, or would it have been the No, it couldn't have been the sorceress. It had to have been cosmic, I think.
Zodak. Yeah, Zodak can do a lot of stuff. I mean, Zodak's powers are mainly technological, but it's like the older Arthur C. Clarke adage. You know, any technology that is suitably advanced can seem like magic. So
that's true.
Yeah. But in the beginning of the episode, we are presented with a scenario where an illusion is taking place, right? In the first episode, where they approach the castle, and it looks like someone's a prisoner, and they're not.
Yeah, so it's Spikor and Clawful. Yeah, Spikor and Clawful.
That was a really odd choice. I mean, I'm glad that they did it. it kind of seemed wimpy in a way. I kind of would have chose different characters.
Also, the way Skeletor gets blasted across the way he slides across the floor on his face is really weird.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he slides, he splats.
So wow, they really did that. Okay.
They did the damn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something to think about. I mean, he seemed to fool the sorceress, and it's not that I didn't think she was unfoolable. It just felt like she wouldn't have been able to be fooled by his tricks, or But he is very powerful. He's very powerful, and maybe he's gaining power. I don't know, but I wonder about that sometimes.
You know what? I have a really big brain, and I just put it back together. Talking about Skeletor and everything. This is a medical model kit and everything. It's an original and official one. I know my fingers are dirty, but anyway, I just want to share. I think I'm the right side, and I guess Tony is the left side.
No, I think the creative side is the left side. Right?
Okay, okay, you can whatever. I'm just being silly. I did have a skull in here for the Skeletor conversation, but I think it fell behind the bed.
No, it's okay. Do you have any, either of you, do you have any last thoughts about the theories with Skeletor's origins and what we might be seeing maybe in the third comic in the series, or even in the next 5 episodes, or whatever number of episodes there are going to be in He-Man?
Yeah, I'm hedging my bets towards maybe there being maybe this again. I think this might be the narrative that Skeletor himself's pushing, that he was this a dissident of some kind from another plane of existence, a sort of a refugee. I think he's pushing that angle himself, but in reality, he is either Keldor or perhaps a completely different person altogether. But I don't know. The thing is, this version of Randor, the version of Randor that they've presented here, seems to be the sort of person that would have secrets. So
Correct.
I can see him having a secret brother that he's kept away, that he's kind of kept away. And now, obviously, Marlena originally is from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. Are they going to keep that part of the mythology? Is he still going to be from Earth, which means that Adam is half human, or half Terran? If they're going to keep that, are they going to present that? It'd be interesting to see what we get in the second part of the season.
Yeah. Oh man, you brought up the best points right there regarding Marlena, and that little known fact that only pops up like every holiday, that he was human, or I mean, she was human, an astronaut. Aside from that, this is in a galaxy far, far away, kind of long time ago. It doesn't matter. I mean, aside from that, though, I mean, that literally ties Earth to it. That was the only link that they had for the movie. That would be really interesting if they decided to pull that out, like remove it. I wouldn't be happy if they pulled that out.
I think that we're going to see Skeletor now that he, let's say, if it's true and he has the Sword of Power, he's going to go to the is it the Orlac? The interdimensional being.
I think they just created that for this show.
Perhaps they have, and I think he's going to go to it with the sword. and somehow he's going to do something, act upon.
He's going to piss off the Sugars or whatever. Tony, what is it? How's he? Shakti? No, the Sugar.
He's going to cause an
Nagrath. Essentially, it's the Cthulhu, it's the Lovecraftian tentacled, it's the unnameable, it's the
it's a name that no one wants to say out loud because it's awful.
Right.
And he's going to challenge it with
I would imagine if he opens the portal, guess what? He's going to get bitch slapped by some tentacles because he's the most powerful. Well, guess what eats power? The thing that you're not supposed to mention the name. It eats power. It absorbs. It wants. It is drawn to people with power. Yes, it is the most powerful person. Well,
by releasing the Kraken or this Cthulhu.
That's a good equivalent. Yes,
it's going to be an additional thing that they're going to have to fight or overcome. And maybe all the forces will have to come together and figure out how they're going to do this. And even more of a problem once that bag of that Pandora's box has been opened. I'm just guessing because we saw it in the comics, so I don't think they would mention.
You're totally right.
Without it being incorporated in the story.
I totally agree with what you just said. I think you were able to paraphrase it perfectly. Shigora is how it's presented in the filmation, and I mean that's I think that might be my favorite episode of all time. Anyway, I've watched it so many times. That would make sense that if he was to, he brought it to. Or turning it in the first place. Now imagine. Wait, he owed it something. Wait, no, it got sucked into. I bet you, that would make the most sense because that would literally force, instead of having Hordak and his prime come over to fight Skeletor, Skeletor is just going to be so powerful. He opens a portal, thinking, I can do anything I want now. Oh, tentacles wrapper. And then guts. And then all of a sudden we've got this monster and everybody else has to team up. Freaking, they could kill Skeletor in the first episode. They interdimensionally rip his soul apart.
I don't want Skeletor to die.
Well, again, I think they. I mean, which characters have died so far?
Three, right?
Orko, Mossman.
Mm-hmm.
And
He-Man.
Well, Keenan Ivory Wayans. Okay, so no, He-Man, Orko, and we can't say Prince Adam. Well, I guess he can because he ended up in that. I still don't think that they technically died in the beginning, the first episode of, but I guess they did. It seems more like they transitioned. I
thought they'd killed off Trapjaw, but then he came back later in the episode, so it's like, oh no, they didn't kill Trapjaw.
And Orko's definitely not dead, by the way.
What is the that techno cult, and is it Triclops?
Yeah.
Now
the motherboard.
Yeah, the motherboard group. Do you remember how angry they were at Skeletor? Or at least they kept saying that they were angry at magic and all this sort of stuff. And Skeletor kind of left him behind, so he's upset.
That's going to be interesting moving forward, right? Because magic, whereas they're all techie now. I don't have the artwork, but yeah, they're all techie now.
Maybe if Skeletor approaches Triclops and the techno group, that will help him mount a way to defeat or make an attempt to defeat the interdimensional being. Yeah. I don't know. But
he's a god. He's not going to ask for help. He's going to demand the help.
Oh,
that's his ego. I mean, that's his ego. Also, I'm saying, his ego is going to say,
he'll be able to manipulate them to
bow before.
Well, I have a feeling because obviously Skeletor didn't know exactly what he was in for when he went into Grayskull, right? I have a feeling that was Hordak's plan all along. It was so that whole thing was just to free Hordak, right? And this universe-ending event wasn't really that the universe was going to explode, but it was that it would have set Hordak free.
Oh.
I've got a feeling that that's what this universe... It wasn't that the universe would literally come to a screeching halt.
Mm-hmm.
It would be that it would release Hordak.
I love that. Though we've not had any Hordak mention in this series. That's why I love the idea, though. We haven't heard anything yet.
I know.
Right, Tony?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, not at the moment. Not yet.
I love the idea, though.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, this has been such an entertaining thing with you both to talk about Masters of the Universe again.
We didn't get to talk about the knockoff toys, but we can do that next time.
Why don't we do that in our next episode?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that, I'll talk about the role-playing game and its disaster. I mean, this is original, never played, 1985, and I'll tell you, I'll explain to you why it was a failure, and how my game is going to kick its ass.
I'd love to play a role-playing game with Masters of the Universe. Like, it makes sense. So I'm looking forward to talking about the knockoff toys and the role-playing games on our next episode of PGS ALL-STARS. And thank you, gentlemen, for coming, and thank you for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us again on PGS ALL-STARS and our special series for what we love about Masters of the Universe. Hope to see you again soon. Until then, take care.